Yeah, mental health, gotta look out for self. For real, it's so important, and you know we're here to help. Mental health and wellness, I can't stress it enough. Here to lift you up, hosted by Tyreese McAllister. Yeah, join the podcast, bringing good energy once a month. Yeah, every Thursday, therapy, talking self-care and radical resilience. Put yourself first, cause it's all about healing. Let's go. Yeah, said this is what you need. Mental health and wellness with Thursday therapy. Yeah, never too late to start with mental health advocate Marcy Trueheart. I know that life can be
taking it far, sharing stories, inspiring minds, raising the bar, what codes by the side, reaching for the stars. Thursday therapy, breaking stigmas all around. With this crew, they here for the town. Mental health help, spreading love profound. Their voices echo loud with the resounding sound. Thursday therapy, here to make a change, spreading love, sharing knowledge in a world so strange. Tyreese, Marcy, Jamie on this mental health range, standing united this far from a game. She's Tyreese McAllister, the therapist on the mic, bringing mental health wisdom, shining bright like a light. Guiding souls to peace, leading minds to the right. With her codes by her side, they soar to new heights. Marcy Trueheart in the mix, mental health advocate, speaking truth, sparking change, grinding like a maverick. Empowering minds, lifting spirits, it's never too late. Together with the crew, just trying to do great. Jamie Tyler in the house, a TV star, champion mental health, taking it far, sharing stories, inspiring minds, raising the bar, with codes by the side, reaching for the stars. Thursday therapy, breaking stigmas all around. With this crew, they here for the town. Mental health help, spreading love profound. Their voices echo loud with the resounding sound. Thursday therapy, here to make a change, spreading love, sharing knowledge in a world so strange. Tyreese, Marcy, Jamie on this mental health range, standing united this far from a game.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Let me tell you, every time I hear that song, it's like I heard it for the first time. So
I know, I love the song. But y'all heard that first part about Tyreese being a therapist. I am not a tech person. So y'all just forgive me. Thank God I do therapy way better than I run this tech.
I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. I got somebody who's super savvy with all this podcast. I'm gonna connect. I did it before. I'm gonna do it again. But I got you.
That's why we love you.
It looks like we're live. So if you're watching us early, hey, welcome. We're gonna repost this at 7 because you know our schedules are busy. You know, as podcasters, we are dedicated to getting this information out about mental health. But honestly, all three of us got some real busy lives because we out here saving lives and making moves and stuff. Speaking of moves, what y'all guys do this week?
I know I watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was this week.
Okay, it looked like you want to talk about that.
I'm just saying. I'm not even an NFL fan of nobody, but go Eagles! I am so happy they won. They stopped that so-called dynasty. But that halftime show, baby, that halftime show, and I'm still listening to it. I'm still watching it because Tyreese and I we were talking earlier how so many gems was dropped. I'm like, whoo. And when I went back and I saw from certain angles, it was like, oh, okay. The symbolic, all the symbols was just
symbolism.
It was just outrageous. And of course, those who didn't get it don't get it, and it's okay. But I love the way I have become a fan. Before the Super Bowl, I became a fan of Kendrick's lyrics because I actually listened to the lyrics. But the way he just laid stuff out, wow. The ancestors were pleased.
I agree.
It seemed like you've been holding that since Sunday evening. You saw that, JB? She couldn't wait to bust out with that one. She's been holding it.
Yeah,
did you watch the Super Bowl, Jamie?
I enjoyed it as well. I was still a little under the weather back during that time, but I enjoyed it. I stayed home, tried to stay away from people still, and got into a few heated debates about the halftime show. You know, with our group chats. You know, some people couldn't appreciate it, and I just get tired of our people watching stuff just to critique us. You know, it's just irritating, especially somebody who is on TV, and I've seen the hate. I've seen it on social media. I've seen it all around YouTube and all these platforms where it's just like our own people just watch stuff just to tear us down. Like, everybody know Kendrick Lamar is a activist type of rapper. He's not coming on the Super Bowl to sing your favorite hits. He's going to send a message. And he did just that, and appreciate for what it was. And you don't like it, you don't like it. But I mean, I'm in back and forths all about this halftime show. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you have an excellent point that you know, a lot of times we are very critical, and sometimes not all the time. So don't nobody email me because I'm not having it. But sometimes people, you know, it's the self-hate, right? Sometimes it's jealousy, but sometimes it's not even jealousy. It's just the self-hate. And I just like, I grew up with this in my household, that you don't you just don't even if you feel a certain kind of way about somebody, like if they your family member, you don't do that, right? And I just feel like, especially on social media or in mixed company, if you will, even when even if something is not for us, even if I don't like something somebody did, that I don't necessarily have to make it a public statement, right? Like, you know, like, and a good example is Tyler Perry and Spike Lee, right? Like, Spike Lee does not appreciate Tyler Perry's art form, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to like it, it don't have to be your style, but it's his thing. And if you feel a certain kind of way, just like, keep it to yourself and celebrate the fact that he's doing something as a Black man. But we don't do that. Yeah.
I cannot just keep him down, and it's just frustrating. I mean, this man is at the Super Bowl. Jay-Z is in a position to put people that look like us on the big stage, and then you critique him. Why you pick him? Why you didn't pick him? That's just like, God.
And I think those people want to be entertained. One thing, Kendrick Lamar didn't come to entertain; he came to educate. And for those who don't want to receive the education, then there lies the problem.
Yeah.
But it's for such a time as this, right? Because this to me was poetic. Like, we ain't in the entertainment stage, right? No. Like, with what's going on in the world,
right,
baby, entertainment is the last thing we need to be looking at. You know what? I kind of say this about like weed, right? Like, marijuana is supposed to be recreational, unless of course it's medicinal, right? But like, you don't recreate all day, and you cannot recreate when you ain't got no job. You shouldn't be shouldn't be playing basketball or doing other stuff if you ain't got no job. Like, you need a job or a career or a business. You need to be doing something productive. But if you not, you shouldn't have time for that. And I'm just saying, like, this day and time, everything that's going on in the last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, entertainment should be the last thing that we really tripping off of. Like, it's a wake-up call. And he did that.
Yeah, I mean, you could just go as far as today. I mean, it's something every day. It's like nobody's in the mood for all that. It's like, I want to see this message he already put out, because the world is in trouble. The world we know. Like, but
especially us. Yeah, but especially us, because, you know, when you look at Kennedy was confirmed today, and what he's going to do with vaccinations, and what he said, even though my sorority sister and friend Angela also Brooks ate him up.
Oh, she
she got him, baby. She got him.
She ate him up like
sunflower. Still got confirmed. Yeah, but he still got confirmed with that racist rhetoric, and you know, so we really gotta. I mean, we got to wake up. I was talking to my daughter, like, you know, she's not looking at the news and stuff, but like, we got to wake up and smell the coffee and advocate for ourselves. So the days, and that's what, you know, speaking of marijuana too, I think they approved that. So most of the generation will be high and not paying attention. Like, you got to stop smoking and being in the cloud and pay attention to what's going on, because your child might not get vaccinations. Right? Your child is not going to learn Black history at school. Are you able to teach them Black history at home? because we still got to teach the history, and it should go beyond. It should go way before enslavement. I'm not a fan of American education of Black history anyway, because it only starts during enslavement when we were kings and queens in Africa way before that, and they never teach that in a school.
Oh no.
So parents who have children, you got to pay attention to this stuff, because these are things that are going to impact us.
Definitely. And this is why today's episode of Thursday Therapy.
You like that segue? I set that up.
Yes, with Thursday Therapy and the Jamie Tyler Foundation, is called Black Excellence. And today, when you talk about, we actually have a queen. She has been crowned a queen in the native land. She is a strategist. She's a professor. She is a theologian. She is a poet. She is a queen mother. So when you talk about teaching the children, teaching us, this queen mother, like I said, has literally been crowned a queen. So we're going to bring up Queen Mother Kelly Page Braille.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I am great. I am so glad to be here. Thursday Therapy. Yes.
And yes, and you heard the segue about how they are trying to erase us. And I dare not try to read your bio, and I gave some tidbits of what you are, but tell us who you are.
I am a living spirit having a human experience.
Okay.
I love it.
Mic drop.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. So,
yes.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I can elaborate. Yes, I'm a Queen Mother, Nana Akuya Kalia Adaye of the Royal Brong Kingdom in Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. And what that means is that I am a female chief, a female ruler of the first of all the Akan tribes, the Brong, in a kingdom that spans 2 countries today, Cote d'Ivoire, known as Ivory Coast in English, and Ghana. So it is a pleasure. I am Black American, and my crowning, I was twice crowned, I may share some of that story today, is an ancestral crown. So my sister Tyreese talking about we are kings and queens, I am living proof of that. We are living proof of that.
Awesome.
It's an honor to meet you, Queen.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so we met in belly dance class because Nazu, who is El Presidente, but what I can say, when you said you are a living spirit in a human body, when you're in Queen Mother's space, and she takes up the space, but not in a way. She takes up the space, but you know she's there. It's a calmness that comes over you when you're in the same space as she is. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And I was just so honored to be drawn to her and she be drawn to me. So, I thank God, I thank the ancestors for you. And you have so much. Let's talk about your poetry book.
Okay.
There's so much.
Yes. I have the pleasure for work and for other things. I travel around the world regularly, and we talk about the challenges of being Black in this world, and being a woman, and in some cases the Black and woman factor. But there's real gifts. And when I traveled, people were just sharing their life stories with me and the things I was observing every corner of the world. And I just needed to process it. And so I just wrote a lot of my thoughts. What were the commonalities I saw across our African diaspora? What was I seeing in places that had just overcome major trauma? What were some of the commonalities that I was observing of the human experience? So I wrote. And I actually compiled it. So I have a book here. It's called Plight. Queen Kalia, my queen name. The cover, I think we have a link. The cover is actually Gorée Island, which is one of the doors of no return for Senegal. And, maybe I can read a poem or two, but it's entitled Plight, Poems for the Seasons of Life in Darkness and Light. So,
and you can get those on Etsy.
yes. I have a link on Etsy. And maybe I can read just one poem. We'll see which one spirit might lead me to.
And as you're doing that, let the people know, because you're a professor.
Yes.
Also, one of the many things. Where have you taught?
I teach at the one and only Howard University.
Thank you.
You know. I've been teaching there for about 14 years. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I actually came to Washington, D.C. years ago to go to Howard for business school, and ended up doing some work and coming back. So I teach international business to MBAs, and I also teach African studies. So it's been a pleasure to just see my students flourish. I've had the honor of naming some of their children. I've had the honor of encouraging them on their entrepreneurial and purpose-filled journeys, and they are phenomenal. So
Nice.
Yes. So okay, and like I said, on top of, has Spirit told you that what poem you're gonna read yet?
we can keep going.
Okay. Let's see. Just talk more about how you got into the study and just your work.
Okay, I'd be happy to.
Go into spirit work too.
Yes. I loved your comments earlier about the Super Bowl and what Kendrick Lamar did. And I just would like to highlight that, he has won 22 Grammys in his career and is the first Pulitzer winning rapper. And yes, we can find holes to poke at, and if you're vibrating low, we want to just bring it down, or we can't see the good in things. And I think it's important that we see the good in things. So it was a very bold move what he did during the Super Bowl. I very much appreciated it for a number of reasons. My one critique is the fact that the sound quality seemed to have been intentionally low and lowered. So that added to really taking away from some of the lyricism. So that's not a critique on the performer per se, but if you watch other iterations of it, it is far superior and at a level that one would expect for that kind of world stage. So we also just need to give each other grace, because one does not necessarily want us to shine, and we have to be aware that there are attempts of sabotage. And the thing is, it's not to make us necessarily self-conscious, or always antagonistic of things, but it does happen, right? So with respect to who we are as a people and where we are today, I would just like to remind us, we were never meant to survive. We were not meant to survive. And yet, and still, here we are. So for Kendrick Lamar's performance, giving it his all, it is Thursday, we're still talking about it. That shows impact. As your show is about Thursday therapy, what I most appreciate about his work is that he has done the work. Kendrick Lamar knew he had behaviors and practices and things that he did that were not healthy or conducive for his family, for himself. He did the work, doing the therapy, doing the reflection, looking at where some of the behaviors were really coming from. And out of that came some of his really genius music. So I think as we raise his name, it's important to also recognize that even if you're on top, there's always new hurdles that can be put before you. That's one. And two, that there's a great benefit in doing the work, that it really elevates us. So I would like to say that. With respect to my work, I always knew I wanted to do global work. And one reason why I went to Howard for business school is because I knew Howard bred Black diplomats. And one of my heroes was Paul Robeson. And I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, so a university town. My family was one of the very first Black Yale families in the 19th century. There's a whole story behind that. We were very good about learning about our history. And that really helps to instill a sense of pride, right? A sense of accomplishment. So in learning about Paul Robeson, he was a polyglot. He spoke many, many languages. He was an athlete. He played football. He did theater. He sang opera. He was a statesman. He was a diplomat. The quintessential Renaissance man. And that really resonated with me. So my sister Marcy, when you read my bio and share all the facets, the limitations of my mind about who we could be and what we could do was removed a long time ago from me. Because in learning Black history, I learned about this example of a man, this Renaissance man, who did a lot. Are you getting the feedback that I'm getting?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure where that's from. Would you like me to keep talking, or?
I'm not hearing any feedback.
Yeah, I hear it.
I hear.
Is it a phone or a speaker nearby near you?
No, I don't hear it anymore. Oh, when I speak, I do.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, and it sounds like a phone that's vibrating.
Okay, I have.
Do you have your phone on?
It's on. I can turn it off. It's completely. Let me see here. I can shut it.
What we love about being live. So while we try to get that together, it's also Black Love Day. Today, February 13th, it's Black Love. So on top of all this beautifulness, we have Black Love. Queen Mother,
Yes.
come on back in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is that better? I've turned my phone off, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So going to Howard to have the aspiration of becoming a diplomat. And I'll share that journey with you in just a moment. But when I went to Howard, what I wanted to do did not exist. I wanted to do international business as a foray into international affairs. And this ties into our topics that we're discussing today. International business for MBAs did not exist. So I helped to create it. And what I tell people is that more importantly than me being the first is I wasn't the last. So many times we are frustrated or disheartened if we feel like we want to do something and it's not there. But we have all that is within us to actually create, chart that path. And sometimes that's our purpose. And we're able to do that. But when we chart that path, some of us grew up with a mindset of it was hard for me. You have to earn your way yourself. It's going to be hard for you, rather than a level up. But if we are the ones to take that knife and machete and clear the path, it should be easier for the next to come because they can go farther. You understand? The ones who come behind us should pay homage and recognize those who came before us. So the Black history is not just about knowing facts and who we are to inspire us, but that's a way of the continuity of knowing our song and our story. That's a reminder we can chart our own path. That's a reminder to be grateful for those who did pave the way for us to move forward. So after business school, I worked for a Fortune 10 company, and I worked on 5 continents around the world. That goes back to the poetry I mentioned, where I was just seeing so many things. And one of the questions that I had was, why is it whatever corner of the world I am in, it seems the world has their foot on a Black woman's neck? And I'm not just talking about traveling in South America and seeing it, or in the Caribbean and seeing it. Every continent, region of the continent, I saw it. I didn't know that we had a presence in Asia, long centuries. I didn't know we had a presence. There were Black people in the Middle East. So I'm going to other parts of the world and I'm seeing our faces and I'm seeing a similar plight. So that's some of the information, in terms of the poem with plight. So I think it's a good way of a segue for a poem I'd like to share in honor of Black History Month. Reverberation, the griot's vibration. The griots must be reawakened from within. Listen closely. Listen closely. The echoes of our history vibrate softly between you and him. You must awaken the storyteller inside. Who else will remember who once we came? If not, our history will disappear or at best hide. Be present, be wise, ever listening while marking your passage of time. The griot wants to be set free to tell the past of you and me. So,
Nice, very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you. So this is the griot within. The griot is the storyteller. I know actual griots, and they're born into a particular royal class. And from the day they're born, they are not sung lullabies. They are not spoken traditional language. They learn the history of the people through singing. So they're able to recount 800 years of our history. But do you know that we have our own history embedded in our DNA and our blood? That we are able to call upon ways of survival, that we are able to tap into our instincts that knock at the door. When we talk about honoring our ancestors, this is not about who are we worshiping. It goes back to what we're talking about, honoring. And it's a way of love, Black love, self-love, loving those who came before us. So we look on the outside for solutions and answers. But what I tell people, including students, is to also look with the power from within. This is a very, very serious thing. When in that poem, I talk about the vibration, the kind of reactions you were mentioning, where you're just looking to bring things down. That's wanting to lower that vibration into where they are. What you're doing with this podcast is helping to raise that vibration.
Yeah, we've talked about vibrations on our podcast a number of times. And while the average person doesn't speak about vibrations, we might speak about energy, right? Like people have low energy, or people who are pessimistic versus people who are optimistic, people who see the glass half full or half
Yes.
empty. But we really, as a people, really have to figure out, how do we stick together, right? Like, this is the time that all of those teachings, all of those things, um, really have to come back. Like, I don't know, and I'm not a pessimistic person at all. I feel like we are in trouble if we don't do anything. I'm very hopeful though, because I know the strength and the resilience of Blacks from the diaspora of Africa. But we have to band together and really work, because you said something that I found very interesting, that we were not meant to survive. Um, and it really seems like all of the initiatives of the current administration is a direct attack on Blacks not to survive. And I'm not sure if people are seeing that. But we've overcome so many things before. I
Yeah.
don't doubt we can overcome this, except we're not woke, right? We don't see that, we've been lulled to sleep, and really made to feel very comfortable, and wanting to be entertained versus educated.
Right.
And so I am hoping that people, really look at this, and do something, different. Like, we gotta, even after work, getting off and just watching TV every single day, hanging out every single day. Like, it's things we gotta do. We gotta do some stuff to, like, prepare, because it's an all-out war on us, and it's not gonna be easy, right? Like, I'm a therapist, when I talked to a few people last week, who are worried about their jobs. I'm like, okay, so what else can you do? Can you get another job? Can you do something else? And you haven't lost your job yet, so how are you preparing for the next? Like, don't just sit there and cry about it. Like, that's not what we do as a people,
Right.
right? Like, we got to do something. So I do
Right.
appreciate, your remarks and leading to that. But I'm hoping that, the students at Howard, can appreciate the gem that they have in you, and hopefully are listening, to your wisdom.
Thank you for that. Where we are, what we're experiencing, needed to happen. Do we want it to happen? No. As a people, this is very, very complex. As a people, in some ways, we're very attached to our past, feeling that there wasn't the recognition or the homage for what our people went through, for the work that was done, for liberation and paving the way of civil rights for everyone else. And we're always looking for the past. But we need to look at the past as a reference and not a place where we reside. By taking away our history and just what we were talking about earlier, is really to know who you are and what we're capable of. I think looking back at the past now, because of what's happening, you're right, the tearing down of institutions and really targeting our community, now we're able to ask with some humility and wisdom, how did our people survive? And we've done it before. I think there's a sense of knowing that we have overcome and we will overcome. That's one. I think two, for those who came more recently and enjoyed the fruits of the labor, maybe did not have a full appreciation for what it took to get those liberties and civil rights and protections, you see, and protect them. And I think it's an opportunity to level set, to have an acknowledgement of how much had been done and by whom, and to say, wait a minute, it is actually very different than what I perceived. When I came, all of this was covert, and now it's overt, right? Once again. So I think that's an important piece as well. For those being targeted with losing their jobs are often right now federal workers and the good government jobs that almost guarantee a level of security very difficult to leave that. And it helped to create and establish a solid middle class. It did wonderful things. But what gifts, what skills, what purpose, what life journeys do people have? Because they were enjoying the safety net of the day-to-day of their good government jobs.
Queen
This
Mother,
may-
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
but there's a huge echo.
Oh dear.
I don't, because it got extremely loud.
Okay.
So
Did you hear it when everybody talks?
it got louder when Queen Mother was talking just a few minutes ago. Just is anything around you?
There's nothing, and I've been online all day.
You know what? Because they don't want this message to get out.
Are you on a computer or a phone?
I'm on a laptop. I'm on a computer. And my phone is turned off. There's no electronics. There's nothing around me.
And no speakers? Are you talking? Is this like speakers hooked to the laptop?
No.
But you know, we're going to get through this message because of the simple fact it's too many obstacles. What did he say? It's too many options, not enough options. Too many options. So, because you are giving us such things that we're going to need to survive. So please continue. I apologize.
That's okay. And so in part of my introduction, just to kind of interweave some of the earlier points and questions that have already been raised in terms of what I do, having worked around the world, I realized that when it came to the African continent, that nothing applied, right? In terms of a proven type of project, an approach, an initiative, it really wasn't taking shape. And I wanted to look at the root cause, the root reasons of why. And so that's one reason why I went back to school. I had a 6-year-old child, okay, who I was bringing to my doctoral classes at night for 2 years, my son and his Spider-Man sleeping bag, okay? And I say this again as a source of inspiration. And if there are people who are now at a point of transition in their lives, I like to share that these things happen. I am Dr. Jabrell, but I earned that in my 40s, and at the time as a single parent. So I wanted to learn some of the root causes of some of the disconnect, some of the discord, you know, and chaos. We tend to blame people, but you have agitators who like that distraction. So you can't look at the chaos and just say that it's such. You have to look at why is there chaos and who's contributing to it and who actually benefits while there's chaos and distraction.
Oh, not the beneficiary. Mm-hmm. Keep talking. Yeah, there's some beneficiary. Yeah, no, to keep talking.
Yes. So but you know what? Even with all that chaos, guess what? There's still the eye of the storm. I can have my peace. Am I disconnected from this world? Do I not see? Am I not impacted in the chaos that we're experiencing now? No, I live it. I see it. I breathe it. But I choose to be what? The eye of the storm. I keep my peace. I keep and create my refuge for others. I know a storm cannot last forever because it consumes all the energy and all the oxygen, right? Or whatever it needs to feed off of. And when that's gone, it dissipates. But you can remain the eye of that storm. So in looking at how things break down, or why can't we rebuild, or why can't we develop, or why can't we heal? Yeah, I'm not going to look at those who are still suffering and point fingers at them, I think about the beneficiaries, right? Because in times of change, we need to be mindful to not model that. We need to be mindful that our goals in life and our definitions of success are not like those who benefit from the chaos. That's not who we really seek or aim to be. What are our own value systems and measures of success and value apart from that? And then when it's time to rebuild, you do that. If you're in the eye in the storm, that is your chance to rest, plan, and prepare. So I did African studies because I wanted to look at African-centric solutions. I realized that there were ideals being imposed that did not come from the heart of the people. And even us, we have our own ways of doing things, right? We have our own way of survival, which are often nods to our ancestral ways and things that we do we're not even mindful of, right? So that was a really beautiful journey for me to look at, okay, we don't need to impose things onto each other. If we really are going to say we honor our ancestors, then we have to understand that there are some intrinsic, valuable lessons and intentions and ways and solutions that are also there. It is not all to be thrown away or discarded. And it also would point to some of the commonalities and some of the solutions and ways of healing and ways of being, even for us. Because again, that ancestral memory lives on literally within us and within our DNA and with our consciousness. And the more that I travel across the continent, I've been back and forth for the last 30 years. I've worked in every region. I studied in Brazil. I'm taking my MBA students to Brazil this month. We're going to be in Salvador, Bahia. The heart of Afro-Brazilian culture will be there. And we're helping them with their business incubators and other things as a way of empowerment. I studied in Venezuela with Afro-Latinos, when Afro-Latinos at the time in some places didn't even know that they were Black. The concept, it's still awakening and evolving within the community, which goes back to what Tyreese was talking about earlier about just, this sense of awakening and who's being attacked and why, and who voted why, and for what reasons, right? So somehow this sense of being awakened, we've had periods of history we call enlightenment or awakening or spiritual awakening or having that third eye open, right? That's a part of that vibrating higher, as you were talking about. And that has somehow been translated to woke as a negative thing, where the intention is that it is better for you to be asleep and unaware and not seeing and not cognizant, right? But to be awakened and to know what's going on. No, you can't herd sheep that way.
It's interesting that you speak about the woke people, because in Project 25, not that I've read it from cover to cover, but I've read enough of it, and it actually talks about the woke people, right? Like woke for us really is a slang term, right? Like if you're woke, doesn't mean that you're actually not sleeping, but that you're aware of what's going on or what should be going on.
Mm-hmm.
But in this document that's well cited,
Yes.
it talks about the woke people, and I found that to be very interesting, because it really is trying to do something to the woke people.
The term,
I
if
just
the term has been weaponized, the term has been turned around. So woke is a past tense for awakened or awake or eyes open, aware. So to be aware is a negative thing, right? How do you shut down awareness? You shut down Black history, knowing of thyself, You shut down, right, all these other things to try to lull you back to sleep. You understand? And
You entertain them. You entertain the people. So they,
so
you entertain versus educate. I mean, and that's what it seems like that's where we are, right? Like let's just
that's what
have
we have been
fun.
expected to do. I mean, again, that's why knowing your history is so important. We've been here before. We know about the blackface and the sambo and the shucking and jiving. Just entertain, dance, right? We've seen movies like that. That's it. But you know what? Even if we're going to entertain, let me say something. Because I'm going to find joy and power in all the things. If you have to dance, that is still a form of praise. If you have to dance, that is still movement of your body. If you still have to dance, you're going to find that beat. You're going to find and be in that rhythm. I don't know. I mean, entertainment is for the outlooker. And you started this segment talking about the Super Bowl halftime. For some people, that was entertainment. For others, it was a message. So even if it is, but this is how we communicated, our songs that we sang were even in code and could be seen as entertainment, but we knew that they were messages for one another. How we braided our hair may have looked like, intricate designs, but that was also messages, right? Of how to find your way free. So I'm okay with understanding there's layers to these things. Where is the message? If that is your outlet, how do you make the most out of it? So this is where you have our own personal accountability. If you're vibrating here, it's going to stay at the entertainment. But if you're going to use that vehicle, or if you're going to understand the history or the power of it, you're going to take that same act or same action and have that meaning on it.
Very interesting. And you guys know it. Our president used woke when he referred to the Kennedy Center, and the reason why he revamped all that. He said it was too woke, and it's
Meaning
just
it was too black and too LGBTQ.
right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes. But what that really means is, and which was not the spirit of Kennedy and the family. But it goes back to entertainment. There's still power in entertainment because why? That means you're telling your story. If you're telling the story, that's controlling the narrative. You see? So if we just say entertainment and just look at it as a way of numbing ourselves to pass the time for giggles, we could be missing some of the vehicles used to reach one another, you see? And so there is still power in that. My concern with this at the Kennedy Center, and I actually know some board members, do you realize that in effect, it is truly censorship to say this story cannot be told? These stories should not be permissible for these people. You understand? This narrative is no longer going to have a stage or a space. That's really what it is. But again, is that a distraction? We can care, we cannot care, but what do we do about it? So you talk about Project 2025. Well, let me tell you something. The Heritage Foundation made very good use of the 4 years that Biden was in office and had that action plan. And that's why we're seeing this breakneck speed of 3 weeks that we are seeing. Where's our plan? Where's our plan? So you can be upset with the Kennedy Center. And I believe that there is real reason why, as I mentioned, it's really the onset of censorship and more. It's a way of controlling the narrative. It's a way of valuing only certain forms of people and expression. Okay. But what else? Are there other stages? Are there other ways of reaching people? How can we support the screenwriters and the playwrights and the actors and the composers and the choreographers and the singers and the set designers and the costume designers, the sound engineers. These are jobs, right? How can we elevate those who tell our stories and other stories? That creativity and that genius is still there. Are they worthy of a stage like that? Yes. Is that the only stage? No. If we're really upset about it, what can we do to make sure that that genius and that narrative continues? That's where the energy for me should be. If we know that this is a form of censorship, and even telling our history is a form of censorship, how do we keep that narrative alive? We still haven't gone through the highlights of my bios and my accomplishments because I refuse to put myself in one box, because I learned about the richness of our Black history and I realized we are not meant for boxes.
And that meant for boxes.
Yes.
So now, I
So,
just want to let our listening audience know that this show is a little deeper than what you probably are aware of, but like what's going on in the world today definitely impacts our mental health. And I'm definitely a witness of that, because last week when dealing with all of my clients who were really struggling with everything that was going on in the world, it was heavy even for me. And I'm usually very good and very clear about what's my stuff and what's my client stuff. So you probably can look forward to more shows that talk about where we are as a people, and the things that we can do. I don't want us to sit idly by and just watch things happen and be depressed about it, but like, what are some of the things that we can do? Any ideas on that, Queen Mother?
yes, I am a huge advocate of self-care. And one of the things that I do are spiritual baths. I'm a big believer in spiritual baths. Water is a cleanser, it's a healer. We're connected by it, it cleanses us. So, what are ways in your daily being when you can just take off the negativity of the world, wash it away? I think that's one. Two, what are we eating? We're talking about vibrating higher. We talk about processed foods and it's confusing. I remember I was going vegan like as a cleanse to be healthy, and my body did not respond to it well at all. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but the truth of the matter is I was replacing my meat protein with processed vegan protein, genetically modified. And I realized that in my case, it wasn't necessarily the elimination of all animal products, which would include honey, by the way. So I had to recalibrate that for myself. But the real intent is, how can I nourish my body and myself with that as close to as God intended? Do you know what I mean? So eating the foods as close to the state that the Almighty created it and had it grow. The more you can consume foods as close to their natural intended state, the better. You get the nutrition, right? It's not going to weigh you down. So the processed foods is the more it's packaged, the more it's processed, the more it's genetically modified, the more it's injected, the more it's extracted, dehydrated. Think of that as a metaphor for what goes in your body. How can we nourish ourselves and our souls inside and out? So to be mindful of that. That's why grandma's cooking was so good. All that love, and she probably had her own garden or some fresh herbs or fresh, right? So I think that's one way in terms of not feeling so bad. I'm a believer in both prayer and meditation. And I used to really just pray. And even my sister Marcy asked me if I meditate, and I told her not so much years ago when we first met. And it was true. I had ways of incorporating meditation, but I was not intentional about it. And let me tell you why I believe in the space and the purpose for both prayer and meditation. Prayer is when we are talking to the Most High, right? And it should start with giving thanks, giving praise. Because how many times have we come with our head bowed low, not knowing where to turn? And we lower our head in that humility and we let go and we listen for that direction, right? The answers have come. But do we give thanks for all the times we felt like we were in a corner? When we got out of the corner, we go about our own business. So prayer should start with giving thanks and giving praise for all the answers that have been previously addressed. And then you can speak to God the Almighty about what your concern is. And the beauty of it is it does not even need to be well articulated. Sometimes we don't even have the words for how we feel, but it's our spirit.
No, that's very true.
Yes, but so prayer is for the praise, the thanks, and the speaking to God about the need. Meditation is the stillness when we can hear the word of God. It is when we can let go and just receive. So one is the speaking and one is for the listening and the observing. And I think that's very helpful in terms of the day-to-day. I personally do not have a television anymore. I do have a teenage son too. It is possible. But I found that negative news, because of the way that the more you're tuned in, the more energetically sensitive you become aware. And so I appreciate Marcy talking about in my presence. I've heard that before. And in fact, I'm actually wondering if it's my own energy that's causing this static. Sometimes that happens if I'm in a zone. But I think that, we just need to be aware of what our energy is. We need to know that it accumulates. We can wash it off externally of our body and be mindful of what we put in our body through food and also what we see with our eyes. So there are some things that we can control. And many people have said they're not watching as much negative news because it's depressing. And that is fine. It doesn't mean you're clueless. We have so many channels of getting the news. It's a 24/7 cycle. It's very difficult to become oblivious. So you might get a phone. There'll be other ways, right? You're going to still know some of what's going on. But it's okay for you to tune out for a bit. It is also okay for you to say that you are not okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we definitely say. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I just would like
Queen
to
Mother,
say,
you have been a joy. Okay, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
briefly,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
I had a role in the I was an advisor for a coalition with the Harris Walls campaign. And my father is originally from North Carolina and was born and raised in Jim Crow South. So I, spent some of my summers, as we said, down South, and understanding that and a connection with the land and seeing a lot of things. And it was wanting to defend those civil rights that many newer Americans took for granted, frankly. Or even some of our younger people I want to defend those. But the more I learned, the more I realized, what are we really keeping or trying to protect? Because I looked closely at the Voting Rights Act and I saw the way it was written. It was written for sections of it to expire. You have this protection, you have this right for 25 years, it expires. It's an act, it's not even a law. So it would need to be passed again by Congress. I look at these civil rights and civil liberties. Do you know how many of these sections that our heroes of Martin Luther King and all those fought for were obsolete or expired? And they were brought to Congress to be renewed and refused. And it occurred to me, we are trying to uphold a shell of our protections. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Voting Rights Act and this act, and it was designed to basically disappear over time to the point where a whole new act was written. It was called the John Lewis Act, right? To kind of replace it. That has not been able to be passed. Hear me out. If these institutions have to go down and we need to rebuild, we've done it before. We have done it before. And we can build it in a strong way and in a meaningful way and in a modern way. Because what we are seeing and what we're missing was actually dying anyway. Okay? So, what we were wanting to uphold was not strong, it was sick to begin with. So, let's be mindful of the kind of communities and lives protections that we want. Don't be afraid to articulate what your worth is and what you think is fair. And so, we need to be able to think about those once again, and build that for the future. But it was already broken, is my point. We're not losing everything, it was already crumbling. All right. And that's not to make people feel bad, but that's to say it's not like a house is crumbling down that didn't have leaky roofs, holes in the floor, pipes were burst, all the things. What we need is a solid foundation. You said today is Black Love. That's a part of our solid foundation. This is Black History Month. That is a part of our foundation. You say our history should not start or begin just with slavery. Correct. Going beyond, which is one reason why I did African studies, is a part of our foundation. Having the dialogue with the different African communities, Black communities, immigrant, that is a part of expanding our tent. So let's just breathe. Let's ask for the message of this moment. Let's think about, have you really lived with the security of your job? Now, I told you, I'm someone who worked in a Fortune 10, not a Fortune 500, not a Fortune. I worked in a Fortune 10 company. I know what it is to leave that. You understand? I told you I brought a small child with me to go back to school. I'm not telling you this way, I'm telling you this way. Okay. What is that opportunity? What have you always wanted to do? As you pray and you ask for the guidance and you talk about the protection that you need, make sure you also are in a state of meditation so you can receive the word and the guidance. What is your purpose? What is your gift that you have that you've always wanted to tap into? This might be your time.
I love it. I love it. Queen Mother, I want to thank you on behalf of our group here for gracing us with your presence and your beauty. Thank you for the beautiful poem. Yeah. And how do people get in touch with you if they want to know more? Do you have a web? I know you have the book on Etsy. Do you have another way that people can get in touch with you?
Uh, I do. I'm not very, very much out there because people
Okay.
think, no, I am on LinkedIn. I am on
Okay.
Facebook, and I do have Instagram ~ Dr. Kelly. But yeah, when Spirit needs us to connect, I know it happens. So I reach out to you.
Okay.
But I wanted to know if,
Excellent.
Jamie Tyler, if you did have a question or a thought. I know you were quite engaged. Thank you for your energy and support in our conversation. But I did want to um, defer to you.
I'm just amazed and taking taking everything you said in. I mean, you hit on a lot of things I was going through my mind with this current climate. And like she said, I appreciate you joining us because I look at it way different now. Like I was angry, and now it makes sense. They found a weakness and they're exploiting it because it was broken, like you said, and it makes more sense now. So
Yeah.
And now we need to be courageous enough to reimagine how we rebuild.
Oh, I love it.
yeah.
So, and with that, Queen Mother, I believe that we have to have a part 2.
I would be delighted.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Like I say, words honestly can't even express how much knowledge that you've given us today, because you are the educator in your spiritual realm and here in this realm. So we thank you, we honor you, and we just have the heavens just surround you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put you out into the green room. If you want to just hang out there for a while, we'll be with you in a second.
Okay. Thank you for your great work. And Thursday Therapy. So glad we're talking about this as a people. This means we are already winning. We are already breaking barriers by having this podcast. So, and all those listening, you are not alone. And no, you have people praying for you intercessory on your behalf. And remember, you are not meant to survive, and you and me and we are still here.
Still here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. Great show.
That was deep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, I don't even think the people are ready for but we're gonna get them ready, right? Because these are conversations we definitely need to have.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we want to thank our listening audience. If you're listening to us on the replay, definitely drop us a hashtag replay so we'll know. If you have any questions, please ask your questions. We check the chat from time to time during the week and want to answer any questions that might come up. Jamie, Marcy, y'all got anything going on in the next week or two that y'all want to talk about real quick before Marcy do her Marcy moments?
Real quick, I'll be on Fox 5 tomorrow morning. If you remember the fashion show we did with Mike, he has a segment on Fox 5 for Valentine's Day. So I'll be one of his tomorrow morning. Probably that's Good Day, DC.
That's about 10 o'clock.
Right. We got to be there, I believe, at 10. So I'm saying maybe
must be 11.
10:30, 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Once I know more, I'll probably post something. But other than that, pretty quiet right now. Pretty quiet.
Okay. Marcy?
Well, of course, it's Black love, and Black love is self-love. So first, love thyself, and then we can go out and we can do the changes that Queen Mother was talking about. And I want to wish our very own Tyreese McAllister and Anthony McAllister, how many years? 36, 37? Oh, 33 years of marriage tomorrow. Black love. That's Black love. I love Black love. And Friday, for my singles, and if you're not single, come and join me because we're doing belly dancing with Sister Mayaso on Friday, which we're extending Black Love Day to be self-love. So come and see, come and dance with me at Belly Dances of Color. And we are happy to see you come and dance and learn to love on. Oh, the word is loving thy own self. So what about you, Tyreese, on your wedding anniversary?
Anthony and I headed up to New York, and we're going to see the play, Alicia Keys' play, on Broadway, hang out with a little bit with family. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Monday's a holiday. So, yeah.
Okay.
Happy anniversary.
Well,
I snuck that in. I didn't know that. And happy Valentine's Day, ladies.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, guys, we just gotta keep vibrating at a higher level, right? Like, I think that's the main thing. And it might be a little challenging, right? Like, because there's a lot of things going on. So I want to, just check in on your friends that, you a lot of times we don't check in on our strong friends. We just think, they got it. But so check in on your friends that you think of when people cross your mind. Make sure you reach out to them, because you just never, they're crossing your mind for a reason. I sent some messages to people this week, which I randomly send messages, and about 5 people said, you don't know how much I needed that, right? Just a message of encouragement. And I probably sent it to like 20 different people that came across my mind. And 5 of those people was like, I needed to hear that right at this moment, or I needed to hear that today. Thank you for thinking of me. So I just want to encourage people, like, this can be a rough time, but we're gonna reimagine, because I love that. Yo, that was real good. And she's right, the systems are broken. So they ain't really, they never really been here to support us. They just had an illusion of support. So we can reimagine what this looks like for all of us. Thank you, Marcy, again for those of you who don't know, Marcy is usually the one that takes responsibility. We all bring a guest, or we would what would be the word be? We would we suggest guests to come on the show, but Marcy really is the person behind the scenes making it happen. So I just wanted to thank you for another great show. And we try to bring you some diverse people, not all the same. We don't want to just bring you therapists. We hope that you are really truly enjoying our variety of things that we put out, always with your mind in mind.
Okay. And with that, so
all right.
Queen Mother has said it all. So we are out. Peace and blessings to you.
Right.
She's Tyreese McAllister, the therapist on the mic, bringing mental health wisdom, shining bright like a light. Guiding souls to peace, leading minds to the right. With her codes by her side, they soar to new heights. Marcy Trueheart in the mix, mental health advocate, speaking truth, sparking change, grinding like a maverick. Empowering minds, lifting spirits, it's never too late. Together with the crew, just trying to do great. Jamie Tyler in the house, a TV star, champion mental health, taking it far, sharing stories, inspiring minds, raising the bar, with codes by the side, reaching for the stars. Visit therapy, breaking stigmas all around. With this crew, they here for the town. Mental health help, spreading love profound. Their voices echo loud with a resounding sound. Visit therapy, here to make a change, spreading love, sharing knowledge in a world so strange. Tyreese, Marcy, Jamie on this mental health range, standing united this far from a game.